Well, hello there. This is Cindy, and welcome back to Cindy's Cards and More. It's time for another quick and easy card. And I did a video earlier this week over at Paper Crafts by Elaine on the gorgeous leaves. So I decided that I wanted to do one more card in regards to this stamp because the fall is here and all the leaves are falling off the tree, and I just love this stamp set. So I decided I wanted to do something a little different. I'm actually going to make an ombre card, and I'm going to be using Cajun Craze, Pumpkin Pie, and Bumblebee are my inks of choice. I'm actually going to be using the dies from the Gorgeous Leaf bundle, but I'm not going to be using the stamp this time. But I wanted to show you both because I did use both of these on the card that I did over at Paper Crafts by Elaine. So this time we're going to do just something with our blending brush, some paper, and some dies. And we're going to be making another quick and easy card. So let's get started. So I've got my piercing pad all ready to go, which is now my stamping pad. I've got my scrap paper and I've got my inks. So on this I decided that I am going to do basic white cardstock, and I've got this at 8.5 by 5.5 and scored at 4 1/4. Now my base, I decided that I'm going to be doing 5 1-inch strips. So this is 5 by 4 1/4. And you'll probably be asking, why did I do 4 1/4? That's going to be kind of strange. Well, when you do the ombre effect and the way I was doing with my blending brushes, I decided I might want to cut just the edges off because that's kind of where I start and it'll become kind of dark. So I decided that sometimes I didn't like that look, so that I might want to just take 1/8 off of each side. So that kind of gives me a little leeway. So I'm going to start with my darker color, which is Cajun Craze. And I'm going to do the Cajun Craze, I'm going to do Pumpkin Pie, and then I'm going to do Bumblebee. So I'm going to try to keep those in order, because sometimes I get carried away and all of a sudden I got the wrong color going. So on this, I decided instead of doing a little my swirls to start with, I'm going to just do the sweeping effect going back and forth. I found that that works a little bit better when I'm trying to do my cards. So I'm going to kind of get my paper going so I kind of catch all of that. And I've kind of got an idea that of where I want to do. Now, once you get this going, you'll see that you can kind of go back and fix things if you don't like the look, if you didn't have enough color on the card. And you're going to get these little bit of inconsistencies on there, but that doesn't bother me a bit because that's really part of the card. It's a handmade card. It's not a printed card, so that's what happens when you start putting ink on it, going back and forth like this. Now you'll be able to blend some of that out when you can actually go back and do your more of a swirling effect like I'm doing right here. But as I'm doing it back and forth like this, I find that sometimes you'll get those little streaks in there, which is fine with me. That didn't bother me a bit. But you can see the edges on how dark they are. That's why I left that spot where I could do a little bit of trimming on either side of that. So I'm going to do a little bit of my swirls to kind of blend it a little bit more, and I'll be able to go back and forth on that to make it as light as dark if I want. So to me, it's better to start off lighter, and then you can keep going darker as you go. If it's not dark enough, you can still go back and put a little bit more on there, but you can't take it off. So unfortunately, you can't do that. But so I'm going to do a little of this. Now I'm going to go ahead and get going with my pumpkin pie. And I'll go ahead and get that going. I hope everybody's having a great day. I know I am. I'm enjoying our cool air. It was like in the 40s here in Raleigh, North Carolina. So I really am enjoying this cooler weather. It works for me. You know, this time of my life, I still get those hot flashes going sometimes. So, all right. So we've got kind of going with our pumpkin pie in the middle. I'm going to turn this around and I'm going to do my bumblebee at the bottom. You'll find when you start cutting the strips, you won't notice a lot of the differences in your ombre effect because of the white background. It will kind of break it up a little bit, but it'll still give you that pretty look that you're looking for. And once you kind of get some of the color down, then you can start kind of doing your swirls like you're used to doing. Kind of do that a little further up. Make that a little bit darker. Whoops, getting a little carried away there. Turn my paper around a little bit. All right, as you can see, we're just kind of working with the color a little bit here. Now I'm going to go back with my pumpkin pie and add a little bit more of that in the middle. And I think as you start going back to it, you'll see that the color really does start to pop for you. That's what I noticed when I was doing this. And then I'm going to go back and do a little bit more of my Cajun craze, and I really kind of got a little wild there, but that's okay. That's part of doing the look. That really doesn't bother me too much, because you'll see once I get some of that colored out there that you won't notice it when I do all my strips. Alright, so let's do a little bit more on this side. Go back with my pumpkin pie. Alright, I think I kind of like that. Each one turns out a little different. As you know, that's just the way the looks are. But I think I see one little spot here that I want to try to fix. There we go. But I like that lighter. See, you have the lighter of the bumblebee, then pumpkin pie, and then the Cajun craze. All right, let's kind of get these closed for now, because if they're open, I'm going to get my fingers in there, and then good luck on that one. That's just the way it always is, right? Now, like I told you, I'm going to go ahead and take off 1/8 of an inch on either end of this. That kind of gets rid of that really dark look on this. And I don't mind that look in the corner. I think that's part of the effect. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut these into 1-inch strips. Now when I do this, I kind of put them down on how I'm cutting them, because sometimes you'll find that some of the colors are a little similar. They're pretty, then I kind of, one time I did that and I kind of got out of order a little bit. So I find this is a little easier to do. Then you've got your 5-inch strip or your 1-inch strips, and there's 5 of them. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my card base over. Now on this, I have found that if you just do a little bit of your tape runner to start with, because you want to place them down, and you're going to probably move them around a little bit based on the fact that you want them to be kind of a little bit more even. They might be off just a tad bit, because again, you're kind of eyeballing it as you're putting it down. You might decide that one needs to be further over than the other. So I just put a little bit down. You can go back once you have this down, and you can go ahead and use your glue if you wanted, or you can just use more tape runner. You can also use a temporary tape that's out there in the market that you can do just to, so you won't be tearing your paper. But I find by using my tape runner a little bit and just giving a little bit of a glue on either one, it's not a big deal. So I can kind of lift it up. I can move them around. Like, see, this one's a little bit, but that's because I didn't get that one down long. But I'm going to probably move these over just a little bit. Now this one I want to move down, but so what's kind of fun with this is you're kind of playing with it, kind of getting that look that you want, getting the edges a little bit more even. Yeah, I think like this one can be just moved over just a tad, and then this will give this other one a spot to go to. And then this one will, I think the one at the end looks just about right. And they're just about even. I might want to bring that one up just a hair. And I like the edges. So I think that kind of works. Like I said, you can go back with your Tombow. I'll move that one over just a tad. And then you can put that down so you don't have to worry about it coming back up. You can also put just a little bit more of your tape runner down to get the edges down. That works too. whatever system you like, I think that will work. All right. Now, so we have that, and so what I did is I said I was only going to use my die, so I actually cut out a couple of the bigger leaves here. And I'm going to kind of layer them, not quite on top, just kind of off center them a little bit. And I'm going to use a little bit of my tape runner to tape them down. You can use glue dots if you want. So this is just my decoration. Because I wanted to get kind of my bigger ones here. I cut a couple of smaller ones out. And these are actually going to be using for my accents here. So you show a couple more leaves, because you know you do things in odd numbers when you put them on your card. So I've got kind of my 3 items here. Now you can put some embellishments on here if you wanted. You could do that. Some bling would work. I decided that I wanted to use my bow, and I'm actually using the white glittered organdy ribbon. Isn't this pretty? Look at all that sparkle in there. And I tied it, and I actually tied it so I have a little bit extra, because once I put this down and I put my sentiment on, I'll probably do a little bit of trimming. But before I do that, I want to go ahead and do the inside of my card. Now I wanted to try to come up with, I told you I'm not going to do any stamping on this one. So I wanted to come up with something that I could do, because I don't have my thing is always no naked card. So I always have something on the inside of my card that will represent what theme I'm going with. So I decided to take one of the leaves, and I've kind of done this already once before, and I kind of set this down, and I'm going to use a little pumpkin pie, and I'm actually going to probably use whatever little ink is left also on my brush, because I don't want this to be very dark. But I'm just going to stencil this on so it kind of gives you that impression that the leaf is here, that same leaf that is on the front side of my card. Now I'm just going to kind of just lightly put this on, and you'll see how this will look. It's just going to kind of give you that faded look. You just kind of work with this and move it around a little bit, just so you have a little bit of ink all the way around. I'm not going to color the whole card, just kind of doing this as a highlight for the inside of my card, because just something a little different, you know. Not you could actually put the leaf in here just like I have it, and you could glue that down if you wanted, but I wanted to do a little bit of stenciling. I think it's kind of fun, kind of keep going with that theme of using my brush. And that's, like I said, doesn't have to be really dark. It can be if you want, but this is the look I'm going for. And look at that. Isn't that pretty? Just kind of gives you that stencil look of that there's that impression of the leaf in there. Now, I went ahead and decided to use my mini messages, which has all these wonderful sentiments on there, because I wanted something small, and I wanted to do this as a happy birthday card. Now, this could be a happy birthday for a male or female, just because of the colors. It kind of works. Fall, you know, all these pretty colors that we have. But I'm putting a bow on it, so I'm probably going to send it more to one of my girlfriends. But you could make this a masculine card and just put bling on the outside of the card without the bow, and then that would work too. You could put some gold embellishments on there. That would make that really pretty also. So this has got a great die that goes with it that you can cut out. And this die actually kind of fits over this and cuts out all of these little messages in there. And what I do is when I do those in theme colors, I go ahead and put them in little bags, and then I have all sorts of different ones that I can choose out of this if I need a sentiment really quick. So I don't waste anything. I continue to use them for other things. So I decided that I wanted to do a happy birthday on the outside, and I did that in Cajun Craze. And I'm going to do wishing you a year of magical moments and wonderful memories. Now, I decided that I wanted to put all of my writing here on the left-hand side of my card, since I put my leaf over here. So I'm going to put my sentiment on the right side. You don't have to center everything. You can do anything you want. So there's the inside of the card. That's all done. Now, let's finish the outside. So I have all my leaves in place. I'm going to go ahead and put my sentiment on there, and I'm going to do that with some dimensionals. And I'm just going to put 2 on there. It doesn't need a lot, because I do want it to pop up a little bit. And I'm going to kind of put that right over the stems, kind of having it over here because I'm going to put my bow right here where my finger was. See if that's straight. Yeah, that looks good. Now I'm going to go ahead and get my glue dots. I have these left over from one of my paper pumpkins. That's what's nice about getting those, is you always seem to have supplies left over. So I'm going to put a couple of glue dots down here. Nothing fancy. Do that. I can do that with my Pick-a tool, but I'm using my snips for that. So I just want to have a little bit of glue dots down there. Now I'm going to go ahead and stick down my bow on the bottom of that. And like I said, I left a little bit of extra so I could cut that off and then make it the length that I wanted. Because I'm going to kind of tuck that behind my happy birthday. Just got a little bit of embellishment there, but I think that's kind of fun. Isn't that pretty? I just love how that has that sparkle in it. Now you could put some Wink of Stella also on your leaves to have them as a little bit of bling, which would be kind of fun. So there is my card for today. This is another card that I did with the gorgeous leaves and the dies. So this time, no stamping, just the dies. So if you like my video, I appreciate it if you could give me a thumbs up. I do this video once a week on my YouTube channel here. I also have a blog that I do, which is called Cindy's Cards and More. So if you'd like to go over there and subscribe to that, I do a blog and I give you lots of different techniques and helpful hints on when you're crafting. I also have a Facebook channel if you'd like to go over to that also, and I do some posting there also on Cindy's Cards and More. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate you coming and taking a look at what I do. If you have any ideas that you would like to see, just give me a shout out on one of my comments. I'd be happy to look at that. I look at all of those and I do reply to them. So I hope you have a wonderful crafting day, and I'll see you next week. Bye now.